Long story short, I got laid off 3 times. I really hit rock bottom.
So I started having this existential crisis.
Yeah, that video brought in like 1,000 in sales from a budget template, and people remember me for that actually to this day. They're like, oh yeah, you're the cookie girl.
Call it cringe or call it a little almost arrogant also.
Delulu. 2 months later, I grew from like 2,000 to over 100,000 followers.
Whoa. Where were the tips?
Yeah, no, I could share them all. One of the best tips was
my stubbornness and confidence that I can do everything myself has been hurtful.
The conspiracy theory is that the government is trying to...
Don't cancel me if I change it in 5 years. Yeah. I personally don't see any interest in getting... Hello, Megan. How are you today?
Hi, Amy. I'm good.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Would you like to give a brief introduction about yourself, what you do now?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan. You can find me on Instagram as @MeganMakesMoney, and I make videos about personal finance, a little bit of lifestyle and travel, and basically just teaching people the principles of money and how you can use it to live your best life.
That is a super valuable, informational piece of content that we need more of these days. Yeah. So how did you start on your social media and business journey?
Yeah, so I would say like in terms of social media and business, I would probably start way long ago. Back in the day, I remember I was 10 years old and I found a love for YouTube. Like I grew up watching YouTubers. I grew up watching like Ryan Higa, Kev Jumba, Happy Slip. And so I used to pretend I was a YouTuber when I was like 10 years old. And so I would make all these videos, but I would never publish them. I would just pretend with my friend, and my friend was the cameraman. And I remember vividly in high school, my teacher had a project for us. It was my history teacher, and he wanted us to make a video where we recreate a moment in history. And so I did this one skit with like Abraham Lincoln, and the video was like really well done compared to other people who were making their videos. I think mine was like the most polished and edited, and he liked it so much that he would show it to other students at other classes. So I think that's where my love for creating content started. In terms of business, also started when I was young. I remember when I was little, my sister and I would, like a typhoon hit the Philippines, and so we really wanted to help, but we didn't have money. So we bought these silicone bracelets and started selling them for like $2 each and used the money to donate to the Philippines. That's one of the areas where I started. I also remember in middle school, I would sell like photos of celebrities to people and they would buy them for $5. So
really? Did you like print these out?
Yeah, I would print it on photo paper and I would sell it. So that was another thing I did. I also sold candy. So in high school, you had to be part of an organization to sell candy. Whenever organizations were selling candy, I would just start selling candy so I like don't get caught. And so I also made money doing that. Oh, and in college, this is a really funny story. So I bought the ebook of like the textbook for my class. And I think I bought it for like $20. And I thought to myself, well, the book retails for like $100. So why not just sell everybody the principal version for like $5? So I started emailing everyone in the class like, hey guys, I have the book for sale for $5. Like email me if you want it. And I made like over $100 doing that. But the professor got really mad because she was just one of those really strict professors. And she was like, this is copywriting, blah, blah, blah. She called me out. And then I switched classes. Like I still had to take that class. So I switched to a different class because I was so embarrassed because somebody also ratted me out. She was like, who did this? I need their name. And so someone ratted me out. And then I switched classes. And then she ended up like kind of subtly talking about me. But then she didn't call me out in the class that I was originally in. So me switching classes also didn't help. And I remember going to her office hours and crying and like, I know, but thankfully she like was forgiving and she didn't bump my grade down because originally she said she would, but she didn't. So yeah, I would say my entrepreneurial journey started way back when I was young and just kept continuing. And then throughout college, I think this happens for a lot of people, but you know, college is like your brokest moment. You are juggling school, you're juggling a lot of things with friends. And so I needed money. And so I started working at like Amazon warehouse. I started doing food delivery. I started like pet sitting, and pet sitting is really where I found the love for business and also doing something I genuinely love. So I started doing that, and then I didn't even realize I was doing a business. I thought I was just doing like a fun side hustle. And so for a while I would just charge, I think like 25 to 50 a night for boarding dogs. And then I watched a guy on TikTok who was one of my friends. His name is Kevin, and he was running a really successful rover business. And so I noticed that he started increasing his rates. Whereas for me, I kept getting bookings, but I wasn't raising my rates. And I realized, well, all of my reviews are 5 stars, so this is a sign for me to level up. And I was afraid to charge more, and I didn't know that you're supposed to charge more when you get more reviews. So then I started leveling out my prices, and then I started pet sitting for rich people. So I'd pet sit for doctors and lawyers and charge anywhere between like 100 to 140 a night. And it didn't feel like work to me because these people had pets with like backyards. And so really I just had to come in, feed the dogs, open the door. Sometimes, I mean, some of them I did have to walk the dogs, but some of them didn't want me to walk their dogs because their dogs just weren't good with other dogs, so I just had to open the door. And so I always valued my time with money, and I always thought to myself, like, if I'm working this much, how much of my time am I trading? So I think ever since I was young, I really valued my time. And so I realized, like, okay, I'm pet sitting. This doesn't feel like work. I love it. I'm probably putting in like 1 to 2 hours a day, and I'm getting like 100 to 140 output. And so I just kept doing that. And then I think what really sprung me into making the content that I have now was I got a job in college. Long story short, I got laid off 3 times. And the third time I got laid off, I was given a severance. And I was bummed out, but then I decided like, okay, this is my chance to go all in on content. Because before I tried building a food channel, didn't really succeed. I also tried doing travel, which kind of succeeded. Like I had 2 videos go viral, but I never continued it because I wasn't constantly traveling. So after I got back from my travels, this was during my unemployment era, I told myself I'm going to commit to posting every single day no matter what. And I believed in myself so much that I made a video recording myself and said, a year from now, you're going to be a full-time content creator. Like, I used to, yeah, I used to think manifestation was like BS. And I thought it was like this, I don't know, what do you call it? Like
fake.
Yeah, I used to think it was like fake. Like when people would say it, I was like, that's not real. And then I really like started thinking about it. I was like, wait, it's true. Because if you switch your perspective in your brain and you really believe things, like you can actually achieve it. I always knew that if I wanted to be a successful creator, I had to post often, because what YouTuber do you see post like once a year or once a month? I mean, like look at Mr. Beast. He's been posting and didn't see his success until 5 years later. So I knew I had to keep posting. And so I just kept posting every day. And my intent of making money was going to be from brand deals. And eventually I also put out a budget template. So it turns out like while I was posting content, my most viral video popped off. And then that video brought in like 13,000 in sales from my budget template.
Whoa, yeah, that's crazy.
In December. And then like in January, it brought in 17,000 in sales. And I was like, wait, like I just feel like I unlocked something. And at the time I also had just gotten a job and I was there for 3 months. And so I decided to quit and just go all in on content.
Wow, that is amazing. That is such an inspiring story. And I also really, really like your perspective and attitude, because the way you think about becoming a content creator was the way I thought about too. I was just like, oh, well, I see all these successful content creators and all they did was post these videos. Not like all they did, like it was easy, but the only way to see if this is possible for me is to do the same work that they do.
Exactly.
And until I post a video a week, increase the quality for maybe like a couple years, I cannot say I can't be a content creator. Mm-hmm. And thus I was just like, you know what? I am going to make it. And so something similar, before I started taking YouTube seriously, I filmed a video of myself saying, I'm going to start taking YouTube seriously.
To keep you accountable.
Yeah. And I also kept documenting the journey, even when things were hard.
Yes.
Even when I was like, oh, I spent like 20 hours on a video and it didn't do well. I'm sad, blah, blah, right? And I filmed that with a little bit of the hopes like, hey, when I make it, these videos are going to be so good and inspiring. And so call it cringe or call it like a little, I don't know, almost arrogant also.
Delulu.
Yeah, a little delusional, just like, oh, this footage is going to be so valuable later because I'm going to make it and then people are going to make documentaries on me. Yeah. Not like that necessarily, but it's just like the feeling of like, hey, I'm going to be someone people might want to look up to.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing. So with your entrepreneurial mindset so early on, I must say that you seem to have always thought of like time and money as the most valuable things, I guess, like in the world, right? Where do you think you got that from?
I think I didn't get it from like a book or anything. I think I just got it from realizing like, okay, when I'm working, like when I was working at the Amazon warehouse, I was making $11 an hour. So when I went to go out to eat and I'm paying for a meal that's $11, it's like, okay, so I'm trading 1 hour of work to get this meal. But in reality, it's not even $11 because that doesn't account for taxes. So if you account for taxes, it's really like $7 or $8. And so I realized early on that, your time is tied to money, at least in the very beginning when you're starting any job. And I always loved watching like Graham Stephan and all these other YouTubers and business owners, and they would always talk about like your value of trading your time for money. And for me, like I love spending time with people. And when I was working, like for example, after my unemployment era and I got my new job and I was working all these hours and I didn't have the free time that I used to, that's when it really hit me like, wow, I'm really trading my time for working for this company when I could be better spending it doing other things, like spending quality time with friends or doing the hobbies that I love. And so I don't know necessarily when the moment hit, but more like when you think about the hours that you work and your hourly wage, and then you realize, okay, like when I'm purchasing this, I'm actually trading my time.
That's great. That's great. I feel like you're also very self-reflective, and that's what helps. I feel like many people, especially from a young age, they wouldn't be aware like, oh, I'm spending an hour on this. What kind of returns am I getting? And it doesn't even have to be monetary, right? It could also be like, oh, what skills am I getting? What experiences am I getting?
Exactly.
And so would you say that did you enjoy math in school?
I love math.
Okay.
Like math was my best subject.
Okay, me too.
Okay.
I guess that makes sense then, because
you
have a little bit sense of numbers and you're like, oh, an hour, that value is like, okay.
Would you say you're a logical thinker? Because I'm a very logical thinker.
Yes, I am an ENTJ, the T for thinking. How about
you? ENFJ.
Oh, so you're actually feeling.
Yeah. I don't know if that means maybe I'm less numbers or what is T? T is
thinking.
T is thinking, F is feeling. So do you have an example of what distinguishes someone from like T and F?
Oh yeah, so Ryan gave a good example the other day. He said basically when someone is in a car crash, and I guess they look somewhat fine.
Yeah.
A feeling person would be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Blah, 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 right? A thinking person would be like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like wanting to get to the bottom of it and making sure that, whoever caused the car crash will like, I don't know, serve justice or whatever. So yeah, do you think that you would be in the feeling camp then?
I think I would be feeling first and then thinking.
Okay.
But of course, I think like we should cater to the person if they got hurt,
Yeah, like, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I'd probably ask how they're doing as well.
Yeah.
So never mind. I don't know if that was the best example, but if anyone listening has a better example of thinking versus feeling, please comment it. I think that with MBTI though, a lot of the scores I get are more in the middle. Like it just leans slightly one way.
Same, because I retook it the second time and I got ENFP, but usually the first few times I kept getting ENFJ. So I don't even know if it's like an accurate test or maybe I'm just like maturing or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, interesting. So on your journey of becoming a successful content creator, did you have doubts then, even though you manifested at the beginning?
Yes.
How did you overcome doubt and perhaps, hate along the way, like all the mental obstacles?
Yeah. Of course, I think everyone has doubts whenever they're doing something. And the hard part is when you're pursuing something and you don't see the end results, because in any kind of business or anything that you take on, it's going to compound your efforts. So when I was doing this, especially with TikTok, like I was trying to grow on TikTok first instead of Instagram, and I was not seeing the results I wanted. I was seeing another similar creator who was like putting out very similar content and popping off, and I was like, very jealous. I'm like, why is he getting the attention? I'm putting out the same amount of info, and I don't know. I was just also like posting more. So there were definitely those moments, but what helped me was also meeting other creators. So Eric was like one of the people I met when I was going on TikTok Live, and there were some other people going on TikTok Live too. And so I started a group chat with them, and I think like our whole goal together was to grow. And so I think really having that community helped, but there were definitely times where I doubted myself, and what kept me going was like how bad I wanted it. Like I really wanted this, and I also told myself I was going to give myself a year. So if it weren't going to happen in a year, then I could reevaluate. But I was still like, pushing for months, and so I was not going to give up.
I love how you said reevaluate instead of just give up after a year.
Exactly. Because
sometimes you realize that the year is actually not enough, where you haven't actually tried everything you can. And so the great attitude I think that we both have is it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yes.
So even if not this year, could I continue trying? Have I made enough progress or learned enough skills to continue progressing?
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah. And the other point you said, you're like, oh, but I wanted it enough.
Yes.
When people ask how to be disciplined, that's what I think. It's like, if you wanted it enough, you would be disciplined. If you wanted to be healthy enough, I guess you would eat healthier. It's like
exactly. It's funny because I was listening to Alex Hormozi yesterday on a podcast, and she was saying like, you know, her story when she was overweight and stuff, and she kind of hit rock bottom, and it kind of really pushed her to that path. I think for me, when I lost my job the third time, I really hit rock bottom, and you know, going through 9 months of unemployment, I was like, I did not have money. And actually, one of the things, I didn't mention this, but I think I should, I took a bet on myself. So I had emergency savings, and if it weren't for the emergency savings, I would have tapped into my retirement, which I did not want to do. But I heard about this conference called FinCon, which is a finance conference for creators, not necessarily just content creators, but also like people who do podcasts, newsletters, so any form of content. So whether it be writing, video, as long as they're like a finance person putting out content. And so when I went to this conference, I used the last of my emergency savings to attend. And while I was there, I met some of the largest finance creators, and they were so welcoming. Like they opened up to me with open arms. Like even though I was a very small creator, I had like 2,000 followers, they were still very open, and they gave me really, really good advice and tips. And I implemented the tips and advice that I learned from them. And 2 months later, I grew from like 2,000 to over 100,000 followers.
Whoa. What were the tips?
Yeah, no, I could share them all. So one of the best tips was have your call to action in the beginning. So like something that a lot of people would use is first they give their authority figure. So they're like, hey, my name is this and I do this, and follow if you want to learn this. So it'd be like, hey, my name is Meghan. I want to teach you about finance, so follow for more. So stating that in the beginning versus the end, because, you know, people have short attention spans. And then also B-roll and lighting. So I kind of formulated this viral video that I kind of knew would go viral because it was trending. It was like my payday routine where I broke down my paycheck, and also people didn't talk enough about money. And so just showing that kind of vulnerable side and sharing that while also talking behind the screen. I made the hook so that I did something funny in the background to kind of capture attention, and I put a title and I flipped back and forth between me on my laptop versus my face. So just having that like little retention thing. And then I gave so much value. I asked them to follow me at the beginning if they want to learn more, and then at the end. And I think that's the video that really helped me grow because it went viral and it kind of just catapulted everything from there.
Wow, super interesting. This reminds me of a piece of advice that I heard from Jay Klaus's podcast, Creator Science. He had a guest on, I forgot her name, but she mentioned how content is like a chocolate covered almond.
Ah.
Your finance advice is no doubt very valuable, but people are not going to consume it unless it's covered in chocolate.
Oh.
And so almonds is like the nutritious part, right?
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes personally, I've been using this analogy for my stuff as well, where sometimes I feel like I have to provide too much chocolate.
Yeah.
Compared to the almond, and I don't like that. And some people purely just want candy. And so
wait, that's such a good analogy.
I know, right? I was like mind blown, and I'm just like, okay, I realize now I need to shift my content such that it attracts people who want the nutritious part even more. Speaking of packaging, you also did something really interesting at FinCon the first time that I forgot who told me. Maybe it was Eric. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to share your story of the cookies?
Sure. Yeah. So honestly, I feel like from the start, I've always been a marketing genius. Like,
yeah.
Because I don't know. I always think like, how do you want people to remember you? So at this conference, because I was so hyped up, like I was so ready to learn and just meet all these new people, and I didn't know a single person. So for me, going into this by myself was already scary because I didn't know anyone there. So instead of business cards, because when you get a business card from person, usually you kind of just keep it in your back pocket, throw it away. You don't really look at it. At least that's what's happened to me. I decided to make ube cookies. Ube to represent my culture, and also on the back of the cookie, like I put in a plastic packaging with a QR code sticker, so then when they scan it, it leads to my page. So I figured like instead of a business card, I'm gonna make ube cookies and hand them out to like each person I met. And so that right there, like it sparked that connection. It's like, oh my gosh, like, oh, this cookie, it's so good. And then people remember me for that actually to this day. They're like, oh yeah, you're the cookie girl. I've gotten that in emails and stuff. And it even landed my other opportunity when I was at FinCon. So one of the creators I looked up to, her name is Joy. She makes like investing content. I met her and I gave her one of my cookies, and then she later gave it to Brandon, who is the CMO of Blossom, which is one of the affiliate programs that I'm with. And so he reached out to me, and like I ended up being the first US creator to promote them, and it was all because of the cookie, because Joy gave him the cookie, and then he like found my Instagram because of the cookie, and then he saw that my content was good, and then he reached out.
Wow, that is genius. I love that story so much. I in particular just really like when people like you unapologetically try hard.
Yes.
You know, it's like there's just something so bad ASS about it. It reminds me, so do you know Taiki?
No.
Okay, well, he's been on my podcast a couple of times. He did something similar where he was trying to get an interview with a venture capital guy. So he delivered a pizza that said, I think his initials on it in pepperoni.
Oh my
gosh. Yeah. So man, I love that so much. Going back a little bit about the finance creators. So you mentioned how the finance creators at FinCon were really receptive and friendly. I have also found that with finance creators in particular. I feel like maybe business-minded people understand the value of genuine connections and goodwill, and also the fact that if you're running a business, you know, we are in this together. It's hard for everyone. So yeah, why do you think that finance creators are perhaps a little more down to earth than other creators, which I did not expect?
Oh, interesting. I will say not all finance creators are like that. However, majority of the ones I have met are very nice. And yeah, I don't know how to answer that in a way that makes sense, but maybe it's because it goes back to what you said, like they are more business minded, and to be a successful business owner you need to have strong relationships. And I actually heard on a podcast that like the best entrepreneurs are those who have a high EQ instead of a high IQ. So like they did a study where it's like, you know, the top people from schools typically are like sometimes they are the best business owners, but sometimes they're not. It's not the IQ, but it's actually the EQ, which I think makes sense, because it's like if you're able to connect with a person then and give them value, then they're going to be willing to exchange that value back. So in that instance, like I think the reason why they were also nice to me is because they saw how hard I was trying. They noticed I was posting every day, and they saw that I wasn't just one of those creators that came to that conference just to meet people or just like not actually take it seriously, but because they saw the work and grit that I was putting in, they were probably more receptive to give me advice and like help me out. So maybe that's why too.
Okay, so it's also about being the kind of person you want to attract.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah, I agree. My middle school teacher told me something that at the time I was like, oh, no way. I didn't believe it. But he said that all friendships are transactional.
It is. It's true.
Yeah. And not in like a gross way.
Yeah.
But like, think about it. Even from a friendship perspective, you hang out with them because they bring you joy or you guys have fun together. Right. And so I think it's very important that also when you surround yourself with good people, you're all leveling up together, and especially friends who want to genuinely help you and like share information and etc.
Yes, it's very true. I think like, yeah, it's crazy to think, but in any case, almost anything can be transactional, whether it be good or bad. But for the most part, I think like if you just show genuine interest in someone and just provide value, they're more likely to provide it back. Because I don't know if you've met some people where you can kind of tell that they're not genuine, where they just come to you with a question. It's like, first of all, I don't even know who you are, or like, you don't even follow me, so why should I give you the answer? I don't know. For me, I think it just comes natural. It's like, if I want something from someone, I have to show them why I deserve like this answer or why I deserve this connection. So just showing genuine interest in them first, and then giving the ask.
Yeah, for sure. I do feel like I have met some people where you mentioned as well, where they're like almost act entitled, or like they send an email, they're like, please give me everything for free.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. But connecting a little bit back to, you know, the struggles before you became successful. So I was reflecting the other day and I was like, oh, every time when I felt like I was extremely kind of rock bottom, not really, because my situation was still like not bad. But I think anytime when I had a period in my life where for a few days I would just like cry and I didn't understand why. It's always because I didn't have a direction. And that's what propels me into the direction that I should have gone into. Just like, oh, if someone gets laid off, then that's kind of the catalyst for where they're always meant to be. When I was in my consulting job, I remember watching the movie The Social Network, I believe. It's about...
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Yeah, it's about the creation of Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, well, with an actor, not actual Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. But after watching it, I just started like crying because I was like, not that I think I'm like Mark Zuckerberg. Obviously, he's like a genius and one in a million. But I just felt like, oh, something in designing something that impacts people and has some kind of legacy just resonated with me. And I was like, I am not doing anything in that direction. Only now can I kind of like crystallize why I felt so strongly. But I just felt like I was just so sad after watching that because I felt like I wasn't doing what I'm capable of, if that makes sense. Yeah. And then recently as well too, so earlier this year, I was actually, even though I had like already 600,000 subscribers or whatever, I started feeling the same thing again. I was like, wait, haven't I already like grown my channel? Why am I still feeling sad? And again, recently I realized it was because I lost direction. I didn't realize, oh, okay, well, now that I have this following, what is it going to be in 2 years? What am I actually going to be spending my time on? And is this one I want to continue doing? And so, yeah, I just thought that was an interesting note when you said that hitting rock bottom made you realize certain things.
And no, I felt the same way too. It's like, I think my initial goal was to I didn't even think I was going to hit 100,000 followers. First of all, like I think my first goal was 10,000. It kind of just skyrocketed to 100. And I think after that, I kind of felt lost too, because it's like, I kind of got everything I wanted. I got the money, I got the fame, like I don't even want to call it fame, but I got the attention. And then the other thing I wanted was travel. So then I also traveled solo for 4 months. So I also kind of felt that too, where it's like, I have everything I want and what's next. And funny enough, I don't know who I was talking to about this, but somebody mentioned that there is like a saying where there was this guy who also kind of got everything he wanted and he still felt stuck. So I think what people need to realize is like, there's no such thing as when I get this, I'll be happy. Because I used to have that mindset where it's like, when I get this, like my life will be perfect. But the goalpost just keeps getting further. And at the end of the day, like you need to find your ikigai or your purpose. So something that kind of fits all 4 quadrants. If you don't know what that is, it's what you love doing, what you can help others with, what you can get paid for. And what was the last one?
Sense of purpose, maybe? I actually don't know that ikigai.
It's okay.
Thing.
Well, if you want to throw like a screenshot.
Okay, I'll throw it over.
Yeah. But basically all the quadrants have to kind of overlap each other, and then in the center is ikigai, which is basically your purpose. So that's like something I'm always trying to look for.
Wow. Yeah. I would say though that something that might make sense where you're like, oh, once I have this, I'll be happy is your day-to-day lifestyle.
Yes.
Because if you say, oh, once I get this job, which actually has the day-to-day activities you do enjoy, then you're happy. Because I guess it's like, oh, I guess it's kind of meta. It's like, oh, when I'm happy, then I'll be happy. Because it's like the process itself gives you joy. It's not an actual like destination. It's when you get on a journey you enjoy. That's when you're happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just realized, okay, so it's what you love doing, what you can teach others, what you can get paid for, and I guess, did I miss it again? It's bothering me. I just need to, can I just Google this?
No, it's okay.
Like, I have the itch now, I can't get it out.
Oh, bias toward action. Toward action. That's so funny. Okay.
I can cut that. Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. No worries. It's funny. It's personality. Yeah. That's why I try to keep these relatively raw. Yeah. So I think it's just like fun having conversation with whoever's listening, you know? Okay. So last weekend we watched the Alex Hormozi $100 million money models. Yes. Okay. I heard that title so many times. I don't know why it took
because he kept advertising.
Yeah. Okay. What did you think of that? And also, who is Alex Hormozi? Why do you like him?
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, Alex Hormozi is a entrepreneur who has a very big personal brand, and I first learned about him from Graham Stephan's podcast Iced Coffee Hour. And I didn't know what to think of him at first. I was like, who is this guy? And apparently he was just like some mastermind of marketing. It's as so it seems. And I remember specifically Graham asking him, because he just wrote a book. Graham was like, why are you giving this for free? Like, why don't you make money off of it? Because on top of writing his book, he actually puts it in his podcast for free. So if you really wanted to, you could just listen to the podcast and not buy the book. And his mission was the world needs more entrepreneurs. And that really resonated with me, because I think, like, at least just from listening to his content and seeing the way he moves, I think he also found his ikigai. Like, his ikigai is helping people and making money, and, you know, that keeps fulfilling his prophecy, and so he keeps pushing further and further. And so I think why I have trust in him is just listening to him through these podcasts. I can tell that he really wants the world to be a better place, and for the world to be a better place, you do need more entrepreneurs, because you need more innovators, and you need more things to be easier, and just like things that help people. So I genuinely enjoyed the webinar. I didn't think he would talk for 10 hours, but if from a marketing perspective, it makes sense. And I was just waiting for that upsell. So when he started like listing the price and cutting it and then going to zero, I was like, wow.
We had a great time.
Yeah,
that was
actually so fun.
I feel like that's when you know you found your people, when you can like geek out over that.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, what's the upsell?
Yeah.
What is the downsell?
Yeah.
Show me the money.
Exactly. Also, he's like so smart for packaging his thing. It was like, what, you get 12 books, and the money, you get 200 copies of money models for a donation if you pay $6,000, which inherently actually covers the cost of all the books. And then you're getting the bonus, which is like all 12 books. So that right there is a super really smart marketing strategy, because most people, when they upsell things, they're like, oh, you get this and this and this. But in his mind, it's like, you donate books, so you feel like you're doing good while getting something in return.
Yeah, no, that was genius.
Yeah.
It's like, so this is why there are like a lot of people who doubt these kinds of personalities and creators in general. Marketing inherently mixes emotions, right? Mm-hmm. And so when Hormozi, he stopped playing the PowerPoint, he started talking directly to the camera, like, hey guys, I really care about entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. I want more of these books in the hands of business owners over the world who needs them. Mm-hmm. So he was appealing to emotion and also sharing, hey, like, I really care about this. But then because he is at the same time promoting the distribution of his books and then giving the free the bonuses, but you do have to pay $6,000 as a donation, people might be like, oh, he's only saying this for marketing, right? And so it's very interesting, I realize, where like, you know, I also promote my stuff very genuinely, but because I'm so passionate about it and I do exchange for money, I think that's when some people would be dubious. But what I think is that the most successful entrepreneurs are people who truly do believe in the product and mission themselves.
Exactly.
But they're not going to just give it for free, because they're not like, they're not charities, right?
Exactly. They're businesses at the end of the day, and they put the work in. And what he did was super smart. Like, I don't think I've ever seen any business person do what he did. So that was crazy. I think like I just love studying the marketing behind it and studying how his brain works. So he was really, really smart for doing that.
It's so satisfying. I never knew I'd be this interested in marketing, but I did really enjoy AP psychology. And I think I just really enjoy how to influence people, like the science or techniques behind it. So something I remember is in the past when we go shopping and then like we buy clothes, I'd be like, you see, everything's on sale because it's actually not worth that much. So they mark it up at $50 and then it looks good at $12. I remember always being so like excited. I'm just always so excited about that little thing of like the markdown. I think taking these little instances from like childhood, just like how you were as a child, it's like, oh, this is actually what we were always meant to do. Like this is what resonates with us, right?
Yeah. Now I have a question for you. So because this was interesting when I was talking with my business coach, but she was like dating her ex and he wanted to start a boba shop in New York. And then she had to think to herself, oh, how many cups of boba did he have to sell for the shop to be profitable? So do you ever like go to businesses and think like, oh, how much do they have to make? And like, or how much are they paying for rent? Because every time I see a business now, I'm always questioning everything. Like, how much are they paying for this? Like, how are they profiting? Like, how much are they paying their employees? Like, that's how, I don't know. That's how my brain works. So I'm curious if you've had the same thoughts.
Okay. So this is where we differ a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think that granularly, because I think my concept of money has not been as advanced, is not as advanced as yours, where, I'm still learning the business aspect.
Of course.
So what I am thinking about is like this ad. I'm like, oh, look at all these elements they use.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah. I think I'm much more fascinated and allured by understanding the marketing. And when, for example, there's a store that goes viral, I'm like, oh, how did they make it viral,
Yeah. How did Labubu's go viral? I don't understand that one. Do you know why?
I don't. There are a lot of things that I can't understand because I am not that demographic.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $30 on
exactly.
and like it's like the mob mentality, and sometimes I feel like almost at a disadvantage because since I don't understand it, I can't appeal to it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's what it is. It's like when you have a fixation on something, then you really dive deep and then you understand it. Whereas for us, it's like we don't care about Labubu, so we don't care to know like what drives their popularity.
Yeah. I'm only fascinated by like this as a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. Wow. So what were your biggest takeaways from the webinar or from the book launch this past weekend?
Biggest takeaways was provide as much value as you can. Tell a story. Like, remember how he was talking about how he was in a gym and then he paid $10,000 for mentorship and then he like learned all these things and so he invested in himself. And third thing is like, instead of trading, like it goes back to the time and money thing. Instead of trading your time, trade money instead, because your time is your only limited resource, whereas money you can always make back. And that was a really hard concept to learn, despite my thinking of like time versus money. But having to reinvest in yourself is something I'm still working on, but definitely takes a while to learn through that.
Yeah, I also grew up really valuing my time because I don't know what it is. I just feel like life is so short. So I'm like, I want to make the most of any moment. And that's why I also try to study efficiently and everything. But having a scarcity mindset around money, I did still believe that anything I wanted, I just have to put in more time. More time and energy. But when it came to starting my first corporate job, I realized that, you know what? Being more efficient doesn't actually give me more benefits. And so I started having this existential crisis. Then I read Millionaire Fastlane and I started learning the connection between time and money and that you should use money to buy you time. And at the same time, if you put in upfront work into something that has greater returns, right? Like your own business or especially social media, like or businesses before, I'd say probably more risky because you have to have your own cost of customer acquisition. But now with social media and organic marketing, it's like, I believe every single person should try it.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, so that concept resonating with me was just like, oh, well, I can spend some time here and like, I guess more dense time and then buy myself more time and freedom in the long run.
Yeah.
And that is just so appealing to me. And so kind of like Hormozi's example, he's just so good at crystallizing concepts. So he was basically as an advice for anyone listening here, it's like, if you have a problem, what have you already invested? Time. Okay. You still have the problem. Well, are you willing to invest more time into continuing down this route? Or would you rather spend some money to solve this problem much quicker and easier? Now let me ask you, which one can you not get back? Money or time? And so it's like, whoa, mind blown. I wish I heard that at a younger age.
Same here. No, same here. And I wish I think also what maybe stopped me, and I wonder if this is for you too, but with like online courses, I used to just think they're all scams because maybe the online course industry has a bad rep, but it turns out like if you invest in the right people and the right courses, they can actually serve you better. Now, granted, there's so many people in the industry who are just scamming people for money, and it's really sad because I think that level of trust has diluted in the online industry. So, I mean, like, have you bought online courses before? I know you just invested in a coach, but what courses have you gotten that, like, you found helpful, that saved you time?
The only one I bought is this year, like a month ago. It was the AI Agent Bootcamp. Because I was just thinking, man, I'm not going to miss another wave. Like, I missed the TikTok wave.
Yeah.
Granted, that turned out to be a blessing in disguise, I think. But I was like, I have to get on this AI wave and implement as much AI. To be fair, after taking that course, I still feel like it's a little early because I personally don't have the capacity to go build the AI tool. So I guess if I bought this course for someone else to build things for me, it would be better. But I guess it was still good to like have that awareness at least, because I was just like, when you don't know, it just like, what's it called? It just like itches away at you. I don't know that term. Yeah. It eats away at you. Yeah. I was just like, oh, I have to know. But at least now I know, right? And so that was the only course I bought. Previously, I didn't buy anything. I was very, very stubborn. Just kind of feeling like, especially with YouTube, right? There's so much free information out there. If I just follow these steps, then I could grow. Yeah. But like our dear friend Aman says.
Shout out to Aman.
Shout out to Aman, who's been on this podcast before. And I have an episode on his podcast soon. So he says that the value you get from a course is the structure and the community and the accountability.
Yes.
And that is really good value too. Then you also have time savings because they have all the videos in the right order of which to follow them. And especially if you get office hour support. Yeah. It just accelerates things, because before ChatGPT, I just had to second guess everything. I still second guess a lot of things because Chatty doesn't understand social media like as well as, creators themselves. But it's just so nice now, especially even just having creator friends to ask questions too.
Exactly. And it's really good that you did the AI thing, because I didn't even know what an AI agent was until you talked about it. And ever since you showed Eric and I the other day, I've been on this wave of like, oh my gosh, I want to build an AI agent. But then I got into it. I was like, let's see, maybe I'll just outsource it or get Josh to do it.
Yeah, no, okay, actually what if we build something that's like,
sell it and make a course?
Okay, that's a good idea. But another idea, let's build an AI agent that we can use like writing LinkedIn posts, right? And then we can sell that as well.
Okay, there we go. New business idea.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I'm down.
Okay. Yeah. So long story short, no, I did not buy any courses until this year. And what Meghan was saying is like, I guess purchased? I don't know what to say. Yeah. I just paid.
You invested in yourself.
I invested.
That's
the word.
Don't say purchase. You invested.
I invested in myself.
Yeah.
And my future.
Yes.
I invested $2,000 as a first of 4 payments to be in a program to basically be a business owner out of YouTube and create a more sustainable long-term business. Yes. Yeah. In terms of the offer now being my own product versus relying on sponsorship. So I'm very, very, very excited about that.
Yeah, you should be. That's exciting.
Yay. Yeah. How about you? What courses have you done?
So funny story. I did, I also got inspired when I went to FinCon again the second time. I met this girl named Lena. And I remember her telling me like she invested in this $40,000 mastermind. I was like, there's no way. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I put myself in her shoes. I was like, I could never spend that much. But then she was like, but then I made $500,000 that year. And so for her, it was worth it. Cause like, I'm sure she got the mentorship she needed. And, that was an investment in herself. And she took action with that mentorship. So she was able to make $500,000 from that. So I think her just telling me that kind of inspired me. Like, I really need to buy something and invest in myself. And also, one of the very first creators I met, he also inspired me because this was like when I was just getting started on Instagram. I had just blown up and stuff. And he gave me some really good insight. He was like, you don't want to play the game of brand deals because you don't want to keep going back and forth and negotiating. He was telling me how annoying it could be. And he was telling me that if you look at these other businesses, like for example, Dave Ramsey, he has a podcast where he just like helps people with money. He also has a course, he has an app, he has like finance coaching. So he has all these elements underneath. And to build a successful business is to have your own product. So it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to build something, but also I didn't know where to start because there's very limited business resources out there. Then I learned about my business coach, and just working with her made me realize, wow, like I don't think I could have learned this. I mean, yeah, you could look up things on the internet, but like having people who have done it themselves can save you way more time, because she started correcting me in everything I was doing, like my emails or my sequences or like my posting schedule or whatnot. And she really helped me rethink the value of investing in someone, and whether it be a course or mentor, because if you follow someone in the path that you want to be in, I think they can help you much faster than you having to learn it on your own.
Did you make this realization that you should invest in yourself before or after you started selling your template?
After. I Actually, no, there was another course I forgot to mention that I purchased. It was also on digital products because that same guy told me, like, don't be afraid to invest in courses. And so that was one of them that I looked into. And then I really took it more seriously after I talked to the girl who invested $40,000 in a mentorship. So I was like, and then I was hearing other creators also investing in courses and mentorships. So that's when I decided, and I got that inspiration. I was like, I'm going to go in and get a course. And the first one I actually got, which was really expensive. I think it was like the total was $7,500 for 3 months. And the first month I paid $2,500. In that sense, I didn't feel like it was worth it because although the support was there and the course was there, I wasn't getting that one-on-one mentorship that I needed. So I did discontinue that after the first month. And then I found my new business coach who I think was in the place where I wanted to be. And I think it was better to learn from her one-on-one versus like a group setting.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because I always felt scared and hesitant and reluctant to sell to my audience before because I myself was not buying things from creators.
Oh, yeah.
And so in a way, I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense. And
of course,
I think only after you truly understand what business is and you become a business owner, then you're like, oh, wait, everything is just an exchange of value.
Exactly.
And so if I am providing something that I truly believe is worth what people would pay me, then I should be willing to pay for something else that I want. Something we do all the time was we go out to eat, right?
Yeah.
We go out to eat, and that is outsourcing cooking.
It is. Yeah. We don't even think of it like that because we're just so used to it.
Yeah, like a beautiful Thai meal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make that in my kitchen.
No,
right?
that's going to take too long.
Yeah. That is an exchange of value. So if we're willing to do that, then we should be willing to invest in ourselves like long term when it comes to financially or even to have a more fulfilling and enjoyable life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you were younger, did you ever get like a tutor or a coach? Because I know you played sports. So did you ever like pay for that?
Yeah, I had coaches just from being on basketball and volleyball teams and tennis teams, but I also did private tennis lessons the summer before I tried out. I also had a private math tutor. Yeah. And I don't
You never thought of it that way.
It never registered.
Yeah, same here. And I think the difference with us, because yes, like we probably think like all the information is there, and yes, it is. And I was the same way too. Like I never bought anything from someone online, but maybe it's like the fact when you're buying something in person. So for example, you did your tennis lessons and you really got that value. I think the highest form of value exchange is in person. Online is a little different because, you know, you're not connecting, you're not seeing their body language, you're not connecting with them in real life. So I can kind of see where we strayed away from that. And then I think our minds are built on the fact like, oh, I can do this on my own, which of course everyone can do everything on their own, but don't ever be afraid to invest in yourself or invest in someone who has those skills. And it's a lot easier to find a tennis coach versus like someone who's really doing well in the business, which is why you go online to find those people.
Yeah, for sure. In a way, my stubbornness and confidence, if I can do everything myself, has been hurtful.
Yes, exactly.
And like
same here.
Earlier this year, I was just like, I had to wear so many hats because I kept adding things for myself to do, like, oh, podcast. Oh, now I have to do a newsletter. And I want to do all these things. Oh, and I also want to grow my business sustainably. Oh, but I have to do sponsorships too.
Yeah.
And so
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even feel like I was working that hard, but I just felt like my mind was just like always racing. Then I realized, actually, I shouldn't feel bad about myself because it's not me, it's the situation I put myself in. Yeah. And I think that reminds me of this advice I usually tell my subscribers as well. It's like, try to, ironically, right? Like, don't take accountability.
Yeah.
Consider what is in your environment or situation that's causing you to do certain things. And then you can likely find more success that way. And so after meeting Aman, especially who outsources everything, I will not be at his level necessarily.
Maybe someday.
Well, that'll be the dream, I guess. But I do think that he has really benefited me in like his abundance mindset. One funny example that is another explanation of the exchange of value. So Sean and I, we went to the US Open last year, and there is an Amex lounge where you get 2 free drink tickets, and then each person gets a bottle of sunscreen.
Oh wow.
So where I'm getting at this is we don't drink, and so
you got it for the sunscreen.
No, okay, no. So we care about our skin and long-term, longevity and like beauty of the skin. I don't know what you call it, anti-aging. But we were like, oh, let's like try to exchange this to someone else, like other people there. So we were like, oh, do you want a free drink, and we'll trade a sunscreen. Immediate.
There you go.
They would have traded 2 sunscreen bottles for a drink ticket.
Oh my gosh.
Because to them it seemed like a good deal.
Yeah.
But also to us it seemed like a really good deal.
Yeah.
And so that's purely what it is. It's like they have something that you want that they don't want as much as the thing that you want, right?
Exactly.
And so I was just thinking of that example as literally like, it's a trade. It's a trade.
Everybody values different things. Like, people value their time. We value our time. We were just not working as efficiently before with putting ourselves in a situation of investing in courses and mentors. And so you have to kind of put yourself in that box where it's like, okay, but think about this person who's mentoring me. How many steps ahead are they? And I feel like you can get there much faster if you work with them. So yeah, it goes back to like, you value different things, and until you realize that trade is different for everyone, and when you realize like, okay, sure, I'm selling to my audience, but maybe that's something that's value to them. Like, maybe I wouldn't go out and buy like a Notion template or a budget template, but for my audience, it could help them significantly. So instead of thinking like, that scarcity mindset of, oh, I'm selling to my audience, think about the value of how your product can change their life.
Yeah, because then we wouldn't provide it in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what do you think about college and spending money on that degree?
Yeah. For me personally, I enjoyed my college. Like, I don't regret my degree. I think I wish I would have made decisions that could have maybe helped me better in job searching. But at the same time, if it weren't for these things, I wouldn't be where I am today. So there's always like, it's the butterfly effect. But college, I don't regret my experience. I met amazing people. I loved the community aspect of it. I think I learned a lot in terms of what I do now. The skills are not as transferable, but what really worries me is for like my future children, especially with the job market today and with AI taking over. I think the value of college has kind of diluted itself because institutions are just getting more expensive, and it sucks that like they're preying on these kids who have no idea of what student loan debt is, and they get themselves into hundreds of thousands of debt. And it's really sad, especially for like people who want to be doctors or lawyers, which is a career that's going to be, even more scarce in the future and does take a lot of time, but then they end up in hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. So I think when it comes to a college degree, you really have to think like, how will this degree serve me in the future? What kind of career can I get out of it? And will I be fulfilled in this career? Which is so hard to do when you're at a young age and you don't know what to do. So I think college is important if you want to pursue those paths like computer science or, software engineering, being a doctor, being a lawyer. But in terms of like, business, I feel like you can kind of get away with that as long as you have experience and you show that you can work hard. And same with like arts and communication. That is also something you can work towards with experience that I think could get you there much faster than college would.
Yeah, I know that when I was in high school, when it came time to pick a major, I was just like, yeah, this sounds pretty good. It's oh, I have to pick a major, so I'm going to pick the least unattractive one, or like I don't even know. It's just like time will pass inevitably where you have to choose a major, but I think we're just not ready to make that decision yet.
I think
at
so
that
too.
Age. Yeah.
And I think like colleges don't do the best job of teaching the things that actually matter in life. Like, managing money. Like, why wasn't this taught in school? Or like, it goes back to the theory we were talking about.
What's the conspiracy theory?
The conspiracy theory is that I think the government is trying to prohibit us learning about money so that we can stay poor, because they make these institutions very, very expensive. They make it seem like you have to go to college, and they also don't teach about money in school. And so what happens is you go to college, you end up with all this debt, and then in this job market, you can't find a job, whereas the rich people are just getting richer and richer. So they don't teach that part like of life that's very important. And I think at the end of the day, it's all a Ponzi scheme.
It is reasonable.
It is very reasonable.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But do you think that business and being entrepreneurial can be taught?
Yes, to a degree. However, I also don't think everybody can be an entrepreneur. Some people do like that security, or some people may find fulfillment in their job. Like, for example, my boyfriend Josh is a paramedic and he loves helping people. But unfortunately, like, that's a job where you can't really get a pay raise. Whereas in a corporate setting, you can kind of like negotiate your salary. With healthcare workers, it's kind of set to a standard budget. That's where it really gets complex, because you also have teachers who like can't make enough to survive, but it's also like we need teachers. So that's another thing about my conspiracy theory, is the government wants us to stay poor because they're not paying teachers enough, they're not paying healthcare workers enough, things are getting more expensive, and it's just making harder for those to live a sustainable life while also like pursuing those careers.
Yeah, it's truly a difficult system to be in.
It is. And also, we could also get into the topic of capitalism.
Capitalism.
Yeah, capitalism. Good and bad. I think what it is at the end of the day, it's how you decide to distribute your money. And I believe that the top rich just don't want to pay their employees enough. And I think that sucks. And I think that eventually, if I ever grow to a big business that makes a lot, the one thing I want to do is pay my employees fairly, because I see how these CEOs don't treat their employees properly. They're not getting good working conditions. They're not making enough to survive. And that is the one thing I never want to be.
I've had this conversation with my friend a couple years back, and he is also someone where he was like, oh, if I had that much money, I would do XYZ that helps the world.
Yeah.
But then I asked him, do you think that in order to be someone who is capable of doing that, you cannot be this kind of person who wants to do that? If that makes sense. So like, in order to become a millionaire or billionaire, it has to be a billionaire now. Like millionaire is not that much nowadays, even though I'm not one. But maybe you just can't be a billionaire. Like if you are too kind, I guess, or like want to help people, because I don't know. Like, okay, just as kind of an aside, do you know Becca Bloom on TikTok?
No.
Okay, I've seen her videos before. Angel showed me her. Basically, she's an uber rich. I think she's in her 20s, about to get married. She is, I think, Chinese American. Her parents were entrepreneurs, or they still are. She's like, I don't even know the term, like dirt rich, or like, what's it called? Dirty rich? Whatever. She plates food.
Filthy rich.
Filthy rich. Yeah. She plates food in TikToks for her cat that's like caviar and like Wagyu.
Gosh.
And she has like limited edition, like Van Cleef. Like there's only one in the whole world. I've never seen anything like that before. And it's very fascinating.
Yeah.
But then also, she's very liked on TikTok, which is interesting, because to me, like, even though she does seem very nice and personable, I do wonder, like, with this amount of wealth,
you could do something better with
it.
Like,
what? I'm not to say like, oh, maybe she doesn't donate or whatever, but the amount of things I would do with that wealth, course. You know, it's just kind of like, maybe you can't have someone who would use their wealth for certain changes in the world, or maybe they've gotten to that level where they have the power and now they see that it's actually futile.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Have you heard that saying where it's like money only enhances a person's behavior? So if you're a good person, money will enhance your good behavior, whereas like if you're a bad person, then it'll just enhance negativity. I like to think of it like that, because even if I had $1 billion, I would never, if I had a dog, I would not feed my dog caviar. I think like that's crazy and out of touch. I think I would rather like use that to actually make a difference. So a good example of a person, I mean, this is another person I look up to, but Mr. Beast. Because not only is his content like really, really good, but he actually uses the money that he makes to put back into things that matter. So like, I don't know, giving water to Africa, or like he has a chocolate bar. So he stopped actually like, what is it? Children workers I don't know the term for that.
I don't know.
Yeah. So basically like a lot of cocoa farmers use children workers. That's not the proper name.
I think there could be a compilation of us struggling to find the right word.
I know. So yeah, anyways, children, so these cocoa farmers would use children to work, which is obviously very unethical. So Mr. Beast made it a mission so that children wouldn't have to work on cocoa farms again. And so with his chocolate bar, there are no child labor. That's the name. There's no child labor with his cocoa bar. So I really do believe that even if you do have a bunch of money, you can reinvest and bring it back to good, as what Mr. Beast has shown. Maybe the other billionaires just like don't show it. Maybe we just don't know. But I really think that like money has the power to enhance the world, and it all goes back to your values, like what you enjoy and what you would want that money to like help. So
yeah, perhaps it is because Mr. Beast himself came from not a lot of money, and so he knows what it feels like to struggle.
Yeah.
And I bring this back to Hormozi, where I feel like his story of wanting more entrepreneurs is also more genuine than perhaps other people's stories, because he shared how he also used to be a consultant and he was miserable and feeling like even if he didn't wake up the next morning, like it'd be fine. Like he was that miserable. And so entrepreneurship became something that like essentially saved his life.
Yeah.
And made him have a purpose and joy and freedom, fulfillment, everything, all of the above. So maybe what we need is just people who didn't come from wealth at birth or like a too young of an age.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think like at the end of the day, I think how you act now and how you act with a lot of money is going to be the same, assuming like, you know, you're not changing your behavior. So how the way you spend your money now, like what you're buying, I don't think it changes when you make more. At least for me, like when I was younger, I didn't really have these aspirations. I mean, I think everybody has aspirations for a big house and a big this and that. But then I think as I got older, I realized like what things actually matter to me. And for me, that was time with my friends, traveling, and yeah, like those are really the two things that really mattered a lot. It's like time with friends and travel. And beyond that, I don't think like a new car would necessarily make me happier. Sure, it makes some other people happier, but I really value, like I know what I value and I spend more on what matters to me.
Yeah. It's the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you see Tejas Hooler? I don't know how to pronounce
it.
Yeah, his series. Yeah, so capitalism. Companies make you feel like once you buy this thing, you'll be happier.
Yeah.
But really, it's not a very significant impact to your life, right? Like, I personally, okay, don't cancel me if I change in 5 years. But I personally don't see have any interest in getting a Louis Vuitton bag.
Yeah.
Just as an example.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I have my Kate Spade bag that my mom got me from the outlets on sale, and I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, I think it's all a matter of what actually brings you joy and to reflect on it, just like you said before.
Yeah, I actually have a really good story behind this. So back when I was in college, this was another side hustle I did, but my friend would get these like free iPhone cases in exchange of a review, and it was these Facebook ads that would come up, and so I would keep signing up for them, and eventually there would be more and more things. So I got like 15 grand of Amazon stuff for free. So I would like get the product and then I would review it and they would pay me back the money in PayPal. So I think that lesson right there, because I was like, there was a day where I remember 50 packages showed up at my door.
Whoa,
Christmas.
Yeah, I
know, right?
It's like and PR.
No, it was great. Like, trust me, I think I got everything I wanted material wise, and that lesson really taught me like, damn, even though I have all these things, it's not making me happier, because if anything, it's making me more stressed that I have this clutter. And I ended up giving this away and I was like, dang, like I really don't value things as much as I thought I did. So I don't know, maybe that experience for me like taught me that lesson, and maybe that would have to happen for someone else to learn that. But I realized like, yeah, there's more important things than like material objects.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, it's like if you don't think money is important, maybe you've never had to struggle with money. And so I hope that's not how we're coming across.
Of course.
It's like money, like we're not rich, just to say the least.
We're comfortable.
Yeah, just like more comfortable. I feel like sometimes, honestly, I'm not that comfortable, given the fact that I know I want to start a family in a few years, and I don't know, my parents are also worried for us a little bit. Just in terms of like, you know, the cost of living always going up. And honestly, I'm just like, I want to be somewhere where I am with my friends. Yeah. But my friends are all in New York City, which is so expensive. Yeah. So I'm just like, hey guys, let's plan in 2030. Okay. Yeah. We're all going to move to Georgia or something. I don't know.
We're all going to get a compound.
Yeah. I don't know, man. And also we're all going to have our kids be together.
There you go.
And not use social media. That way they don't think social media is normal.
And then we can keep each other accountable and make sure like they don't turn into an iPad kid.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds lovely.
It does sound lovely.
So what do you think would be a solution then to this college problem? Like, what would you tell someone, or I guess what would you do for your kid then?
Yeah, so I think I would take it different than how my parents raised me. Well, at least for my parents, the way that they got into the US was to be a nurse, and to be a nurse you had to go to college. So they assumed that to be successful you had to go to college, and that was the only outlet we could take. So for my kids, at least what I learned now is I would ask them what they would want to do and then help them plan out the steps to get there. So if they want to be a videographer, then maybe enroll them in some classes, or like maybe have them get mentorship from someone who does that. So find something that aligns with their passion and what they want to do, and then justify if school is needed for whatever they want to do. So if they wanted to be a doctor, then of course you're going to have to go to school. Like, you can't just be a doctor without going to school. There's some careers where school is required. So knowing what I know now, and with AI on the rise, like it's kind of scary because we don't know what jobs will be available 10 years from now. But I will say, like, maybe they even have to learn AI skills. Who knows? Definitely going to teach them about money, because that's super important. And if they want to be entrepreneurial, I'm happy to mentor my own children. So how would you do it with your kids?
Oh, that's so cute. So from a young age, I'd have them try a bunch of things. But
oh yeah,
I think using myself as an example, I actually don't know how effective this would be, because I just have weird flashbacks and like recollections of being in tennis lessons, or not tennis. I was in soccer lessons for like 2 days, and then I quit. I don't know if I quit or my mom took me out. I did that with
swim team. I was in the swim team for 1 day and I quit.
Yeah, no, and I did like jazz dance for like 2 weeks, and then I also did gymnastics for like, I don't even know how long, but it's just like little recollections that I tried it, and I'm just like, did I give up, or did my mom just think like, nah, this ain't for her, you know? Oh! Right? And so maybe from a young age, you can't actually figure out if you do like it.
For sure.
I also remember taking tennis lessons in middle school, and I didn't really enjoy it, but then I loved tennis when it was junior year of high school. So it's really hard. I feel like society has just doesn't align with biology.
I know, right? And I think it's important to try different things. Like, I would also want my kids to try multiple things. I remember when I was younger, I did taekwondo, I did swimming lessons. My parents didn't really like enroll us in sports, but when I got into high school, I did track. So I think you should always try new things, and that is one thing I really want to encourage my future children to do, is like, do as many things as you can. If you don't like it, you don't have to stick with it, but you never know until you try.
Yeah, I'd have them cycle through different things and then perhaps revisit them when they get older as well, like in high school. And in high school, I'd encourage them to have a lot more direction in terms of finding what they're passionate about and getting deep into why.
Yeah,
because even myself as a elementary school kid, I would like build like things with cardboard boxes, and I'd like just be really creative. And I think that creative side was dampened when like, oh, math, I did well at math, and like, oh, STEM, blah blah. I still do like math, but I think it was the problem solving and the innovation and like the like grit.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like going deep into why you like something and what you could do for the rest of your life. Because even if you're good at math and say you do some kind of job like accounting, like, I don't know, that's not the exciting math that I liked, right? Exactly. And so I think we need to think about that. And I'm definitely going to have my kids learn how to use AI.
Yeah.
I guarantee that'll be a needed skill. It's already for sure. It's already a needed skill. Yeah, for many jobs. But what's interesting is that I do think that Amon would disagree. We're mentioning Amon so much here because
it matters.
I think a college degree is still important. Because I mean, think about it. A lot of our credibility comes from the fact that we actually did go on a path that's similar to the majority of the population, right? And going through college also means that you got to explore more in this environment. You got to meet new people, had to work hard in school and stuff. So I think it's like, first of all, the degree, and second of all, the experiences. But I mean, even Amon, okay, I'll tell him in person this too. So it's not like,
of course. It's
not like we're talking about his behind his back. But Amon, for example, he has a business teaching students how to get a computer science job.
Yeah. If he didn't have a degree, could he have that credibility to teach that?
Right.
Unless he did a boot camp.
Yeah. So there's that. But then also, I feel like because students are young, as we've been saying, they need to be forced to do something. I don't think that if we just gave them 4 years to be like, run free, find your passion, they would be very productive for that time, right?
I wish there was a solution to that, because I think what I really enjoyed of college was like, you know, the community, how you were on a campus, you could just walk to all these organizations, like everyone was everywhere, you can try all these new things, whereas like they don't really have that if you didn't want to take on the college route. Like, let's say you wanted to be a plumber, well, how are you gonna like discover yourself other than go through the apprenticeship? I kind of see where Amon's coming from, because it's like, in some ways, college, like, I don't think college taught me the things that I needed to learn today in adulthood. So I think what institutions need to be better about is teaching the things that actually matter in adulthood, along with like the things that will help you get to your career. Because I would love to hear your take on this, but what's your take on like the first 2 years when you're taking those core classes that have nothing to do with your major? Do you think those are important, or do you think that's a waste of time?
Yeah, okay, so I guess if we could change college, yes, that would be better. But given college as it stands now, I think there's still some value to going. The first 2 years of core classes, well, I got to meet people who are not in my discipline. So
that is true.
I guess it's the side effects of doing that. But also, I kind of think, maybe it's because I do really value education in general, but why do we learn things like biology then? And like these kind of common, I don't know, not common, but like basic, like, oh, we learned biology, we learned physics, we learned like blah, blah, right? I think it's to have some baseline understanding of how the world works, which is very valuable. And in forcing kids to learn these variety of things, that's like what we were saying. It's like having them try different subjects to see what they enjoy, right? So I think there's value from that. There's also developing, I guess, your brain to be problem solving. But I think as far as making someone who studies humanities at Caltech do quantum physics, that's like not very helpful.
Yeah. Huh, I never thought of it that way. So you make a pretty good point. It's like learning the baseline of things, because it is important to know how the world works. But at what point is information relevant versus irrelevant?
Yeah, for sure. Because sure, you can use AI to ask
anything.
Like ask, oh, how does conduction work, right?
Yeah.
But if you understand it, then you know, oh, maybe I shouldn't take my toast out with a fork.
True.
Yeah. But then again, I don't know if students make that connection between what they learn.
Yeah.
And so it comes back to schooling, where like if we have more practical examples, make it more tangible.
I agree.
Not only would it make the students better in their lives, but it would also make them more motivated to learn.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Like, they just teach it to you, but I feel like you learn more by doing, not teaching. And I think that's where schools lack. Like, for example, in college, I didn't know all the things I needed for my finance job, like SAP or all these other things, like the software that we were using. It's like, why didn't they teach me that in school? And because it would be very applicable to my job. I had to learn everything I needed for my job on the job. So that's kind of where school lacked for me. But I totally see what you're saying. It's like, you do need to have that level of baseline, but also I think colleges should implement the more tangible things, because if we're just learning and not doing, then I don't think you're going to learn as well.
You're right. And another class I think they should have, in addition to personal finance, is EQ.
Yeah, like, EQ. But that's also something you kind of learn with like interacting with people.
Yeah, so have more classes from a young age. Yeah. I guess group work helps, but group work, sometimes you make some enemies. I don't know. So like group work or a class is dedicated to becoming a better speaker. Yeah. Oh my gosh, if you have soft skills at a young age, you are going to go far in life. Like I guarantee it. Like I had I think junior in high school named Baker on the podcast, because he founded Thea, like a study platform. He spoke like he was he spoke like a 30-year-old man. Cause I think men in their 20s still don't sound very eloquent and mature, but like he sounded like an experienced founder in his 30s. Wow. Like he was so confident, like the aura, like he just spoke with conviction, and I was like, I would listen to this guy. I would believe what he says, you know. And he was just like a teenager. Yeah.
It's crazy that skill is like, you know, a very profound skill, and that is also not taught. Luckily for me, I was kind of taught that in my business communication class, and that was like a class that I really, really enjoyed. But I do agree, like that stuff should be also taught in elementary and high school. And, you know, I think there needs to be classes that kind of push you out of your comfort zone. So doing uncomfortable things, because I think that's what That's something that entrepreneurship teaches you that a job doesn't, is doing things out of the ordinary. So I don't know how you could put that into a curriculum.
Yeah. You need to be self-driven with today's curriculum.
Yeah.
For me, I would always push myself to take the most challenging classes to push myself. But then I know other people where, ironically, if they want to just have straight A's, they're going to pick the easiest classes, right? And so that's where it's actually very conflicting. Yeah, like I know one friend who's always taking the easiest classes, and sure, she got straight A's, but it's like, for what, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, at least I got to learn time management and dealing with, you know, roadblocks or like things that come up. So yeah, very interesting discussion. But I think something's interesting too, where like I made a video about this a couple years back, but how I think it was Harvard doesn't want to accept as many Asians because they're not as, their EQ isn't as high, which I must admit, I think on average, because of our upbringing and our parents literally don't have English as their first language, EQ might be lower, right? Yeah. That's just like a fact. Like I know like non-Asian kids, they're like a lot more personable, bubbly, outgoing. But what I think is, you know, at least Asians on average can work hard. So
for sure.
If what you're developing is business leaders, why doesn't your institution teach them that? Yeah. You know, they will work hard. They will do well. You will probably develop really strong leaders. Yeah. So I was just like thinking, you know, if you're a business school to teach people to be business leaders, why do you just, you know.
That is weird that they do that.
Yeah. And I must say that like when I went to a few MBA events, I wouldn't say MBA students are very high EQ, like that much that I was like expecting, I guess. Yeah.
How do you teach EQ? Other than surrounding yourself with people multiple times?
I think they need to make a curriculum designed on Dale Carnegie's how to win friends and influence people, and then have people implement that and I don't know, reflect it and like apply it to business and work scenarios, perhaps.
You know what's interesting? I never read that book because I felt confidently that I don't need to read that book.
You probably don't need to. I mean,
but I'm sure there's some valuable information in there.
Yeah. You can read the summary or something, but I think it like, you know, with our limited time, that's probably not a priority book for you to read. Knowing like you're already very personable, have friends and stuff. And what's interesting is I realized you're like kind of a connector. You said you started the group chat in the beginning. I'm also like
the person who starts group chats. Yeah,
exactly.
Same.
So it's funny. Yeah. Do you have any questions before I go to our last question, or anything else you'd like to share?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like we talked about so much. What is something? Oh, here's a good question. Okay. I want to talk about this with you because we're kind of starting our own businesses in a way. And right now, is most of your income on sponsorships? Because that's how mine is right now. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? And how do you want to pivot into a business owner versus a creator? Because for me personally, like I came into this wanting to be a creator, wanting to be like, do all these brands until I realized like, long term, it's better to have your own product. And I think when you have your own product, you have a bigger impact on people. And when you have impact on people, it kind of has that positive feedback loop. And also when you have your own product, you can decide to bring in the customers. Whereas like with sponsorships, you're kind of waiting in your inbounds or you're pitching. Whereas like if you have your own product, you can make as many posts as you can, make as much content as you can to bring in leads to like have a sustainable business. So what are your thoughts on that? And are you planning to be a creator forever, or do you want to kind of make that transition?
You already know the answer, but no. Okay. So I think it comes down to having more control. Why I didn't like corporate is because I felt like I didn't have control. So I would build, you know, for example, a tool or like do really well in a job, and they're like, okay, well, good job, but you know, no bonus or no promotion or whatever because of the job market or because they don't want to spend more money on the same employee. But my vast majority of income is from sponsorships, and I do not like that lack of control. I don't like the hamster wheel of doom of chasing views. And I was like, you know, interestingly, before embarking on this YouTube journey, I saw a lot of creators who burned out. And so I was trying to mitigate those, but only being at where I am now, which is why a mentor would have been helpful. Yeah. Now I realize that how I tried to mitigate that burnout was not exactly the most effective way, because I didn't understand why they burned out, and they burn out because of the hamster wheel of doom and sponsorships. And so short answer is yes, I definitely want to shift to owning my income per se and owning the distribution. How I plan to do that is going to be like, I don't know. It'll be shifting a lot throughout the next few months, and it'll be interesting.
We're in this together.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, you should come back on the podcast. We can update, but
a year from now.
Yeah, yeah,
or 10 years.
Yeah. So I also did start creating because, you know, maybe it's just the girl in me, but I do like some of the glitz and glam of like, events or like
me too.
Sponsorships and like that. What's it called? Like when you have a brand that's like cool and then like brand association.
Of course.
So I feel like the way I'm going to balance it or try to have best of both worlds, which we'll see how it works, is like doing more of the quote unquote influencer stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then YouTube, hence the YouTube program that I just signed up for. That's going to be my core product / more sustainable business model.
You know who inspired us? Amon. I feel like if it weren't for Amon, I mean, even before Amon, I had this long-term thinking, but having him in our friend group, I think really like is pushing it for me to go out and do my own thing. And I really enjoy that he's here because I think like he's such a big inspiration to us. And I don't know, I aspire to kind of do what he does, like go all in on one thing and have your own product and have like a sustainable business.
Yeah. that he is so impressive. He's another friend where I'm just like, I'm so grateful that we got connected to him.
Yeah.
I
agree.
So yeah, I think it's really good. What's funny is that he we're talking so much but in a way, okay, we can help him with a quote unquote influencer-y side because I know he does also want to go to the events and like see some things. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I feel like now I'm much more willing to sell, kind of also because of you. Like, you encouraged me to do my newsletter more and promote my product, which is just like a Notion template. But at the beginning, it was really hard, I think. It felt scary or like asking for something. But eventually, I just felt like I was almost pushed where I have to do this. And then after doing it enough, I don't feel like it's scary at all anymore. I'm just like, duh, of course I would sell this product I've worked so hard on that I believe is valuable to my viewers. And of course I'm going to charge money for it. You know, it's just kind of like you have to get over that step. And it feels like it was like a flip of a switch, but it actually wasn't, because you had to push yourself to get through that first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I was in the same boat and I still am. But the more you practice that habit of selling, the more you kind of just get over it. And I've had like maybe very few comments, like less than 10, where people would say, oh, I thought your template was free. And so my response, I don't know if this is a good response, but my response is always, well, I spent 40 hours working on it. And then they like either end up buying it or they're like, oh, like then they understand why I charge for it. So maybe it's not even the person like doubting you or like putting you down for selling something, but maybe they just don't understand why. So that helped me like just say, yeah, I worked really hard on this.
Yeah. And I feel like it's also partly like having the right audience where, perhaps they're a little older, more mature, or they're more business minded.
Exactly.
And so it's like, oh yeah, why would they give this for free? If it's actually valuable, why would they give it for free?
Exactly.
You know? And so, you know, I think 40 hours for however much you charge is like a good deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So how are you going to do it, I guess, this journey?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I'm coming to an end with my business mentor, but I think I want to continue on this like self journey of figuring out what I want. And then once I figure out what I want, maybe find another mentorship or program that can give me exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm still kind of, again, in that mindset where it's like, I want to figure it out on my own. But I think until I know what I really want as my core thing, then I will probably seek out mentorship for that thing. So my dream business, if I were to start something and just have all this energy to go all in, would be to inspire people to like leave their 9-to-5 to pursue financial freedom through like multiple income streams. So although I do teach a lot of money right now, like teaching people the concepts of money, eventually I would love to teach people to transfer out of that, because I think like, you know, things are changing. AI is taking over, people aren't getting jobs, and I'm putting myself in the shoes of people who are unemployed, who are stuck and feel lost and maybe like feel like they're losing their sense of purpose or just are struggling to find a job, and I was once there, and I would love to help those people get out of that situation and build enough income streams to at least sustain themselves or find another path along with their passion.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like, oh my gosh, something in common between that and what I think I'm going to do with my YouTube and the program is like, it's serving people who you once were.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like you already had that experience and everything. And on a side note, I feel like maybe it's us being, I think men typically are able to be like louder on average. There are like studies on this. I'm not just being like sexist. But, like, they're like more willing to like promote themselves. And so I think what we need to do is just have more confidence and like promote ourselves, like cheer ourselves on. Like if we worked so hard on something, we should be like, yeah, I'm gonna share about this and like promote it. And I feel like the only haters who would hate on you for promoting yourself are the people who are not willing to promote themselves enough. Like they're not the ones cheering themselves on, and so they're like, oh, why would you cheer yourself on? Right?
Like it's funny enough because my business coach is such a good example of that. She's unapologetically herself. She's so confident when she speaks. Like she's very good at public speaking. She has no shame in like talking about her achievements on LinkedIn or social media. And I kind of want to aspire to be that too. Because I do catch myself sometimes. I'm like, oh, I don't want to come off as like I'm bragging. But at the same time, if I don't show this, then how am I going to inspire the person that does see me as an inspiration? So having to flip my mindset as like showing that confidence to as a way that you want to help people, not trying to be show-offy, because that is not my end goal. I genuinely want to help people, and I hope that when people are listening to this podcast or seeing my content, that is what I want them to be inspired.
Yeah, for sure. Don't be afraid of not attracting the wrong people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I'll end on this question that I always ask.
Okay.
What does being the CEO of your own life mean to you?
Ooh, being the CEO of my own life to me is trying to be the best version of myself. One of my friends, her name is Grace. She makes like kind of lifestyle productivity content, and she always says, try to be the highest version of yourself. So for example, like you get a new car, that feeling of when you get something new, you want to take care of it. So having to maintain that care. So for example, like when you leave trash in your car, taking it out so that it's clean, and that kind of applies to everything in your life. So whether it's like cleaning your room or working out or being better about your money, you want to be the best version of yourself. And so for me, being the CEO of my life is trying to achieve that highest form of myself. So for me, like something that I struggle with is diet and exercise. So in the last 2 weeks, I actually enrolled in this fitness program where I go with this, there's like, it's literally 2 blocks away. So I make this habit easier for myself so that instead of me having to go to my gym, which is like above, because I know I can't keep myself accountable, I go to the gym that's 2 blocks away where there's instructors who not only help me and keep me accountable, but also make sure that I'm doing the right form. And I'm also surrounded by other people who are achieving the same goal. Another thing that like Layla Hormozi inspired me was what's the quote? It's like you rise to the fall of, what I mean? You rise to the fall of your you don't fall to the
don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
There you go. Yeah, that's the quote.
That's actually, I think, from James Clear, Atomic Habits. Yeah.
So like making the things that you don't want to do harder for yourself and making the things that you do want to do for yourself easier. So for me, being the CEO of my life is being the best version of myself and sticking to the things that I need to do and making it easier for me to do them.
Yay! I love that.
That was such a long-winded answer.
No. No, that's the thing with podcasts and people absorbing longer content. It's like, sure, you can put the same thing in like bullets, but is that really going to impact you? Is that really going to help you internalize the meaning and get you to act? No, right? So yeah, thank you so much, Meghan. And where can people find you?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram at Meghan Makes Money. I'm also on TikTok, but I primarily post on Instagram. Eventually I want to do YouTube, and I know I keep saying this, but I actually started filming myself yesterday. Ooh. For the first time in a while, and then I got tired. I was like, I had to keep starting over. So that's a practice I'm working on, and I always tell myself, even if I don't accomplish it today, as long as I get a rep in, that's progress. And celebrate your progress, celebrate your wins, and if you want to learn about money, follow me.
Yeah, love it, which you should. Everyone should learn about money. So I will link Meghan's socials below, and thank you so much. Leave us a high rating if you liked it. If you don't like it,
5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars only. If you don't like 5 stars, then tell us why so we can improve, because that's more useful than just saying
exactly.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yay.